In this version of Mono Green, we are trying to take advantage of Kodama the West Tree. If you're not familiar with this, is all of our creatures that are modified, meaning that they have some kind of counter on them, either a +1/+1 counter, or even the counters from Bankbuster actually count as modification. So all of our creatures that have the modified function will have trample. So to help distribute +1/+1 counters, we run some fight rigging. We also have creatures that put +1/+1 counters on themselves in the form of Gala Greeters and the Beast Caller. And we have +1/+1 counter distribution between Defiler of Vigor and Applebrooke Caretaker. Now, if you're not familiar with Defiler of Vigor, this is whenever we cast a green permanent spell, we'll be able to put a +1/+1 counter on each of our creatures. So it does spread the idea of getting the modification for the purpose of West Tree real easy. Now, this means that all of our creatures will be trampling threats, but also if any of our creatures that are modified deals combat damage to a player, we get to search our deck for a basic land and put it into play tapped, meaning we get ourselves some decent ramp. So we could potentially go like a turn 2, any one of these, the Gala Greeter, Beast Caller, and Reckoner, go to West Tree and potentially get an attack in and immediately start getting some ramp on. Now, it's not always going to be the case, because after all, our opponent may have like a 3/3 on the board or something that would be able to block these. But with a Bankbuster, it's actually kind of easy to be able to attack in with this and get that ramp on, because after all, this will be a 4/4 body. Not too many people have a 4/4 defender that early. Now, we could still lose something to some spot removal, but that's the way it is. And we take our chances with the early aggression more than likely. Now, the other payoffs that we have some Ubenwald Oddities and some Workshop War Chiefs, because these can be used as haste threats, but they're also just really solid bodies for their mana. Now, I'm only going 22 lands in the deck, just because we do have Gala Greeters in the deck to potentially give us treasures, but we also have fight rigging combos, which means that we could potentially cheat cards into play. We don't need to get too many lands. And we also have some extra card draw with Bankbuster and the ramp potential of Kodama. So I don't want to go the full 24, and we're actually not super high on the curve with this deck. So I don't think it's going to be too unbearable for us, just going with 22 instead of usual 24. I ended up basically turning those 2 extra lands into Tamiyo Safekeepings to give us a little protection for our cards. Now, we don't really have any way to interact with our opponent's creatures other than just trying to slam through them. So we'll see how this works out. First game, we actually have a Pack Leader, Beast Caller, and Bankbuster. I think our plan here is actually to maybe, just maybe, hold off on playing Pack Leader turn 1. No, we're gonna keep this, but now we'll go for Pack Leader turn 1. We'll actually probably go Bankbuster. That way we can, hold up safekeeping for when we go for Beast Caller. Go for the attack, because if the opponent's holding up removal, they'll probably use it after we resolve Bankbuster. Jewel Thief for our opponent. Get our Beast Caller. Pass it back. Now, more than likely, we're going to see some kind of spot removal get snapped off. Opponent's going to attack in. We're going to go ahead and give this to Crew, because we can actually crew this with multiple creatures. Protect our Beast Caller here. Alright. We got the opponent to snap off 2 removal spells to get rid of it. And we do get to get rid of the Jewel Thief. I mean, it's a bit of a shame we lost what we did, but overall I think we netted in a favorable case there. We'll go ahead and get the draw right now. So we can go... If the opponent doesn't do anything, we can go pack leader, get a treasure, and that'll make it so that way we can play caretaker. Treasure token. Go for some rigging. Find Defiler. I don't plan on attacking with this. I just plan on putting a counter here. That way, we have the opportunity to go caretaker to board, and combat triggers, we can get this on the board. Okay, so play caretaker. I'm going to end out whiffing on this Storm the Festival. And they're giving this a GG's here. Through here. Counters, counters. Defiler of Vigor. It counts as a cast trigger, so it pumps the pack leaders, and yeah, there they go. They explode. Alright, I mean, we got really lucky. The opponent hard whiffed on Storm the Festival. They just only got lands. But I think we did a pretty decent job of developing a scary board on a decent pacing here. Because this was our turn 5, so not bad, I would say. On the open, I mean, this is definitely something I want to keep. Just have to hope that the opponent doesn't have the early interaction to punish us. But I'm seeing that mono black, and I'm thinking, alright. They have to probably have like that Infernal Grasp or Cut Down to interact with us, right? Ooh, I'm actually okay with that. Alright, so Kodama. Attack in. We get a trade. Now, the only problem is they could go Liliana, we lose the West Tree here, but at least we get our land right away. Now we can bring out Oddity. Oddity can kill Lily. Oh, it's just a Shakedown heavy. Okay. That's the case. Let's go for Fight Rigging. Get ourselves a War Chief. Bring down the Buster, and we'll grow the West Tree. They come in with heavy, we'll just take the damage. Buster for our opponent. I didn't think they'd attack him, but there was always that chance. Alright, let's go for the Oddity. We'll put a counter on the Oddity. I know this doesn't bring us closer to getting the transform for the rigging yet, but let's send these both, get ourselves some lands. I'm actually more appreciative that they block Oddity over West Tree, because this will make it so that way we can keep trample for cards that don't normally have trample on them. Oh, Invoke Despair. Alright, so we do lose both of those, but let's see here. Beast Caller, Oddity, Crew, and get an 8 damage. I think that was a good response to after they hit us with an Invoke. Rafine's Tower for our opponent, so I'm not entirely sure what they're doing with the Tower in the deck, considering I see black and red already. They could just have it in there just as a cycle land. But if anything, if it means that they're black-red, I would have expected the Proving, or what is it called? Proving Grounds? No, something else. But it's the black-red-green land. I think Proving Grounds. I think that's right. I might be mixing up card names, unfortunately. All right, Shouldered for our opponent. We have enough mana, we can just transform the Oddity. And opponent scoops it up. There we go. By transforming Oddity, it means that we just trample over the Shoulder. Because if you're not familiar with, when you actually transform this, it turns into an 8/8. It also gives our other creatures +1/+1, trample and haste. So I was going to probably just crew up Bankbuster with Beast Color here to go for the attack. That way we guarantee ourselves a 5/5 swinger as well as this 8/8. But there we go, we get another match. Okay, so on the open, this is one of those hands that it's a little sketchy to keep, but we have Bankbuster, so we could try to draw into more lands. We'll give it a try. This is one of the things that this card's actually showing up in a lot of decks right now, just because it's a card that allows card draw for whatever you're playing, and also gives you the, decent sized threat after, you've finished drawing with it. So black-white for our opponent at the very least. Might have blue, because Esper's still very popular. Black, white, red. Alright, that's a color combination not as common. Underdog, though, still, everywhere. Kind of the common thing, like, if you're running black, you may as well run Underdog. It's one of the strongest 2-drops. Because it's a 3/2 body, and it's got the it won't stay dead quality to the card. By the way, if you're wondering why I didn't go Beast Color first, then, it was because if we go for the Beast Color and we didn't have the mana for safekeeping, they could have just used a removal spell on it. I wanted to play around that removal spell potential. Okay, we safekeep. Opponent just board wipes themselves. Get ourselves a Oddity. And we're going to crew here, so that way we can do more damage. So, let's see, next turn, we'll sacrifice this, put a counter on Oddity, we'll go for Kodama over Defiler, because we can crew up and send in 9 trample. We also get more lands out of the deck for removing the possibility of drawing those lands. One of the main reasons why I did that was, one, we get the lands out of the deck, but two, it made it so this was trample, so we make sure that they're at a lower life total, harder for them to play around. Alright. Opponent plays Farewell. And we still draw the land. Wow. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've gone through 9 lands out of the deck. An opponent seems to just be black-white hard control. We didn't get much draw off the Bank Buster in this game, but we did. Run out of uses of it. Alright, we bring this to the board, but we pass the turn. If Oddity survives, we can transform it and potentially get a strike in that would be lethal. I do say potentially because we're not sure what our opponent was going to do, but I have to give them this. It's interesting that they have the vehicle plan in their deck, which means that they might actually be a Greasefang control deck. Currently stands that we're dead on board because they can blitz that from the graveyard. DMU safekeeping actually means that we not... No, we are dead if they crew mech. If they don't crew Surge Hacker mech, we can live. Oh, they hit the animate land. Yeah, that's a good game. I mean, I'll give the opponent credit that they're a little more unique of a deck than some of the other ones out here using the vehicle plan. But this is really the thing, is they're running Invoke, they're running Farewell. Some of the strongest removal spells. A little sketchy keeping this one. I mean, we have double Gala Greeter. I'm just so used to these things getting blown up instantly that I never get the value off them. But let's go ahead and give it a try. Our opponent's playing black. Who saw that coming? Alright, just need to get some lands. Alright, get another land. We go for the Golem Greeter, probably see it get hit by an Infernal Grasspier or a Cut Down. Yep. And there's our Trespasser for our opponents. Alright. So, one more land means that we have the ability to play Defile without needing to rely on Treasure from Greeter. It also means that if Greeter survives, we can go for the treasure. Get treasure. Attempt to take out the Sorin, deny our opponent the card draw value. Okay. We at least get rid of the flyer, which is basically an unblockable threat to us. Unfortunately, still gonna have to worry about Invoke Despair. Alright, they passed the turn. Trying to think, do we just go for the Defiler of Vigor, slam it to the board? That way we can, next turn, play Fight Rigging, and yeah, I think that's the plan. Because if I go for Oddity here, I don't have enough mana to go for Fight Rigging in the same turn, so we may as well go for Vigor. We'll go for a life gain here. Pass it back to the opponent. I decided to go for the life gain instead of the treasure just because I know the opponent has Invoke Despair in their deck more than likely. Alright, sacrificing that's only a draw 1 because they have the Road Captain. So, if they sacrifice that, that means that they more than likely have just a lot of lands in their hand, they're flooding. So let's see, we go for the fight rigging. Do we pay the 2 life? We could. Offer blocks. I'm not sure what the purpose of that was. Still not sure what the purpose of that, like, suicide attack was. Alright. Let's see, so if we go for the pay 2 life, we can bring out Oddity. And we can also still hold up Tammy of Safekeeping. Go for another Vigor. Go for Oddity. Combat. Put counter here. Send it all to face. The opponent's not going to have enough mana to be able to sweep up the board with a Meat Hook Massacre. And it's going to take more than 1 Invoke Despair to be enough to be lethal to us. So yeah, that should be a GG situation. I can't think of anything the opponent can do here. Okay, Liliana, not afraid of Liliana. Okay. Well, good game, opponent. Alright, Naval Sleeper for our opponent. And since we just have such large trample threats, there doesn't seem to be anything that they can do here. Because we can activate it, we will. And we slam in for lots of damage. Bunch just gonna take it all. Alright, there's a good showing of mono green and the power of these new defilers. Alright, this hand would be just pure greed to keep it. While it does have like a straight curve from 2 to 6 here, the odds of us drawing the lands for it, not high. Hey there, Angel, how are things going? Hope things are going well there. We're going to take the mulligan here. Okay, this is a much better hand. We'll keep it. Trying to think which card we give up here. I think I'm going to give up Safekeeping. We'll run it like that. Black-red for our opponent. We'll just lead off with the pack leader, start trying to get aggressive here. Yeah, sometimes I wonder how people figure out the little key commands for some of those shapes. I know that they have like some of them posted online that you can like figure out how to just like copy paste for some of those special like emote styles, but I don't know like why some of those even exist for like shapes in general. Alright, so we send Pack Leader, bring down Buster. I would go for the Buster over the Greeters, because that way our opponent can't just go meet hook 1 and get a giant like 2-for-1 value. Yeah, Buster is an amazing card, and it's one of those cards you can really fit in most decks just because it's just colorless draw. Alright, go for the fight rigging. Get ourselves Defiler. Pass it to the opponent. Next creature they play is gonna get big. They're going to attack. Nope, they stay back. Alright, if that's the case, we'll go for a Gallagreater. And we'll go for another Gallagreater. They probably have burn spells to get rid of our Greeters here. But let's see here. I think our best plan is actually go +1/+1 counter on this one. Pass it to the opponent. We'll put another counter on Pack Leader. Alright, another Kumano. Now we know the opponent didn't have any creatures for 3 last time. So, what do they do for the rest of their turn? Do they try to come in? If they do, we can block with Pack Leader. Get to destroy one of the Kumanos. Alright, question time. Do we take the 3 or do we trade off a Buster here? Because they more than likely have a response, but I think our answer is trade the Buster. I know the Busters draw for us, but... Alright. I was just worried about extra burn damage coming to our face. Alright. Kodama of the West Tree. This is going to be pretty big. So, let's see here. +1/+1 counter, gain 2 life. Bring down Pack Leader. Alright. Let's see here. We will go for counter. Here. Then these 2. Trying to get that 5th land for our ability to play most cards from our deck. But I still want to hold up blockers. Take 3. Shouldred. Shouldred's bad for us. Especially considering we just top a Buster. Okay, counter here, pass it back. We hit a 4-cost spell that we can play off the top of the deck, and this pack leader survives. It does mean we could get the the Defiler out of the rigging. Because if we play 4 costs, it triggers the +1/+1 counter from the card, bringing it up to 6, and then that would be counter number 7. Offer block. Okay, I have to get them to do that, because if we take the 3 more damage, they bolt us for 3, and we will just end up killing ourselves. Alright. I know it's dangerous drawing extra cards right now, but I'm in a situation where I don't feel we can take it slow. Defiler of Vigor does work out really well for us, because we put a counter here, we get the other Defiler out, and I accidentally misclick, because you can technically still pay 2 life, even though you don't have to. Now, what do we do here? Oh, that's actually something else I should have done. I should have just crewed up the Buster here, so that way I could have had the counter put onto it from the Defiler of Vigor's hitting board. I think we pass one more turn. Our goal is to try to just beat them down next turn. The only issue is they do have burn spells. If they hit us with Invoke Despair, what can we sacrifice? I think we just crew Bankbuster, sacrifice it for the creature. We sacrifice Fight Ring because it has to be an enchantment. Alright, Trespasser for our opponent. Alright, Oddity's really strong. Full cost pay it. All of our cards get bigger. All of our cards will kill Shouldred at this point. Well, all of them except for the Oddity. I'm trying to think what... How much damage are we sending it? So we are sending what should be a lethal amount. Yeah, okay, punch skips up. I was just debating where do we put the counter. And I was going to settle on putting it on one of the Defilers, because if they did have the ability to snap kill Kodama, these would lose their trample. Yeah. So both of these would lose their trample. Just double checking this one to make sure it did too. But that was still a very impressive way to fight back against an opponent getting a shoulder to the board, because we were at death's door. Alright. Oh man, how greedy do I want to be here? One more mana makes it so I can just start fight rigging. We have double fight rigging. You know, I'm going to be greedy enough. I'm going to try it. Ooh, starting to get punished on my greed already. Just need to hit some lands. Alright, Buster's not terrible. Could have attacked first, because if they had a cut down, they could have, you know, been holding off on it. They also could have been holding off on Fading Hope, because we could have gotten into 2 potentially, and they were thinking, alright, we're going to save the Fading Hope for that 2-drop they play. Alright, come on, deck, give us that land, give us that land! Oh! Rough. Alright. We're going to discard a Workshop. This is us getting punished on our greedy keep for lands. Land! Holy heck. Alright. We're gonna have to discard 2 cards now. This is absolutely terrible. Now, I know I'm being, you know, a little greedy for doing 22 lands, but... Oh my gosh. Alright. I can't let us just draw more, hoping to get lands, and then having to, like, discard all of our threats. So we may as well just start playing these two drops out there. Yeah. Let's see, if we can top deck a land... We can't even threaten to kill the Liliana. Because they can just crew up Buster to block. Are you serious? Are you serious? Holy cow, what's this? Oh my gosh. Alright, well. That's a scoop. I know I said I was being a little greedy on that, but we were 16 cards deep. 16 cards deep and only 2 lands. Yeah, good old variance indeed. What is the odds on that? Wow. Wait, wasn't this our exact same hand? So if we keep it, we should see a different result, right? I'm actually I'm going to keep this to see if we see the same result or not as that last one. Because we had double land, double pack leader, double rigging, and 1 defiler. Alright, this time we draw the land. And funny thing is we're against black-blue again. Oh, and they also play turn 2 Buster, so... let's see here... Oddity seems to be the best grab. Send in some damage. Well, there's been a slight alteration to this history. Oh, okay, so we're black, white, blue. Hello, Lily. Okay, I'm gonna bring out the Gala Greeter just in case they have, you know, Lily number 2 that comes down. So that way we don't go all in on fight rigging and then just get blown out by not having any creatures anymore. Alright, this is unfortunately looks like Wandering Emperor mana, but turns out to be Teferi mana. Now, why would you play Teferi? Because you're digging for a card. Okay. Well, we'll play the Defiler. Hope the opponent does not have a board wipe. Go for the +1/+1 counter here. Counter here. Oddity. And we'll gain 2 life. Wait, is this lethal? Yep, that's lethal. And we get there! Oh man, yeah, no, that's... we hit the reset button, and we're definitely able to show what we were supposed to, you know, have happen in that matchup. Now granted, this person has black, white, blue. I think the last one was only black, blue, but still. That was still a great showing of just how strong this deck can be here. Alright, I kind of want to keep this and just hope that our opponent doesn't have any interaction. Of course, they're black-blue, so they have interact. Why the second caretaker? Oh boy. So we have our top end of our deck in our hand. Alright. Denick I'm not worried about too much. Next turn we can go Kodama. He has a counter to the Beast Collar. We can attack and get nothing done. Okay, so new plan. We fight rig? Oh, ew. That was terrible. Yeah, so Rafine Denick is actually really strong just because they can stack counters here. It gives them a bunch of lifelink. So it makes it sound like they can race against this pretty easily. Oh, we got the counter first. You know, I'm actually fine losing that fight rigging. Because now we can Kodama, attack in, get our land that we missed, and probably die on the next turn. Okay, there's the land. So now we can play Workshop War Chief. Yeah, this is still not a very good situation to be in. This Denick is just going to spin out of control thanks to Rafine. There's another Void Rend. See, if we can go top deck a land, play Caretaker, we can put 2 counters on Beast Collar. Beast Collar will be at 7... means that we could double block, kill Denick, but they could still double attack us and kill us with Rafine. Doesn't matter, we don't draw it. In that case, go War Chief. And we hold up the blocks, because no reason attacking in because of the amount of life they're going to gain back. If they kill Beast Collar with a Destroy, we can put the 3 counters on War Chief. They can still double attack and get the counter for growing Denick. So that's not going to be good. I'm just have to think out what we can do in this situation, because we are not in a good one. Yeah. Counters here. Have to hope the opponent hits land on top with their attack, like double land here. Because that's the only way we can block Denick and not, like, just lose here. Oh, I guess we have to hope that they hit 3 lands. Triple land! Nope. Yeah, that's a good game. Oh well, we'll still kill Denick for the spite. It's a little greedy keeping this one, but we'll try it. Oh, a Delver deck. So we're going to be looking at counterspell.deck for the matchup. Alright, no flip on Delver is good for us. Another Delver. That means that they don't have... Then the Pack Leader. Let's see what the opponent does. No counterspell magic when left open for Beast Collar, because you can't counterspell anything for 1. You can't counter any creature spell, I should specify, but it looks like they have the Fading Hope. Fading Hope, really strong for our opponent because it allows them to try to set up the Delver flips. And it also does mean that they can now hold up that counterspell magic. Let's see, our best bet is probably go land Fight Rigging. Alright, so Delvers continue to fail to flip. Top card, since they paused on it, probably wasn't a land. Probably was like one of their creatures. Alright, then bring out the Jin. Go for the rigging. Grab Kodama for the reach. Otherwise, I would say we'd want Caretaker just because it, spins our cards out of control. But I think we might need the reach against this opponent. Now, it is a big if situation. If we'll be able to transform. Go for Beast Caller. We have the 2 mana available to us for paying for the taxing spells. But that's just a straight up counterspell. Go for another creature. We know the opponent doesn't have another counterspell in hand from last turn, so all depending on what that card is they drew. Alright, we're gonna jam it. Did you top deck a counterspell? You did not. Gonna choose the life gain here. Preserving our life total I think is gonna be for the best. Counter on War Chief. I go for counter on War Chief because they do hit a bounce. War Chief's the best thing we can actually replay. And that way they also don't get to punish us on the Pack Leader sendback. Because it, goes back to 2-1. Alright, opponent scoops it up. They hit the Spell Pierce way too late for Spell Pierce, specifically for against us. And we take that win. So, Mono Green actually does have a lot of power in the best of 1. And while we didn't really see too much of the Avabrak Caretaker hit the board here, I still think this is actually really good for the best of 1s. I know a lot of people like going for the Titan of Industry as a top end for the purpose of fight rigging. Because it enters the battlefield and it's able to, have the versatility of being able to destroy enchantments, immediately gain new life, get that 4/4 token. But I went with Caretaker just because it was a little more synergistic to the West Tree gameplay here. And the ability to always have hexproof for itself means that our opponent can't easily directly influence. And with how much spot removal we did see going on, I do feel like that it's still a great card to play with. It does have some great ability to spin out of control, but Defiler of Vigor, we actually did manage to see this come into play a lot. Very big card in the format, and if you're going to go mono green, I can't recommend this card more than I possibly can. The ability with Fight Rigging also is really strong because you technically cast the card off Fight Rigging. So if you get this to the board on the turn 5, and you go to the Fight Rigging, put the counter on Vigor, you get also the cast trigger of whatever's off the Fight Rigging, and you grow everything on the board immediately. And we did see that give us some wins thanks to Uvenwald coming off the Fight Rigging for the haste and being able to close out games. So, really cool deck. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more content. If you'd like to join me while I stream, you can find me on Twitch in the link below. I hope to see you again in the next video and have a nice one.